Yeah, it's a great question. Um, when I hit kind of the world stage, the world platform of Terminator 3, people had thought that I was just kind of plucked out of nowhere, but that really wasn't the case. I'd been groomed, starting from a little girl on, with all the different, classes and studies, and an extracurricular level, for acting, and then starting pursuing it at 13. There were a series of TV shows and independent films, and working with some great TV producers, Dick Wolf and others. And then really at 22, that's how old I was when I got Terminator 3. And I just had a good feeling about that role because it was very physical. And I think some of the attributes that I have that maybe had worked against me for other jobs, as I previously mentioned, I didn't have that limitation with this. Plus, I was a massive fan of Robert Patrick's performance in Terminator 2. So his performance really stuck with me. And I'm as movies go, I'm not necessarily like an action girl, but somehow he was just so haunting in that role, and so removed from any kind of human traits, that it really lasted. And ironically, I had the opportunity to work with Robert Patrick in a movie about 10 years later, where I played his crazy psycho ex-girlfriend. And we've done conventions together, and he's a wonderful man, but it's neat to sit down with him because, there's not many others that you could sit down with having a similar experience of playing a Terminator. So that was a big milestone, and I had really the world laid out for me on a platform as far as notoriety, and at a very young age. It was an incredible opportunity. And then from there, I was very selective as to the roles that I wanted to choose after that. And they tended to not be the most mainstream because those were the ones that really enticed me more. And so I went through a period of also, of course, doing more action. I did a TV series that I also produced. And that was, I had produced some independent films, but at 26, I did Painkiller Jane, which is taken from the eponymous comic book. And I played Jane, and it was a very grueling work schedule. I was shooting 12, 15 hours a day, plus being for a while in the beginning, the only on-set producer, making producerial choices and decisions, learning dialogue, and then doing the action, and then doing voiceover work after that. But I loved it. I absolutely loved it. And so that also really set the stage for me to want to produce more of my own work, because if you've been in the business for a long time and you've had your eye open, you can really, I think, tune into being that conductor of the orchestra, so to speak. So that inspired me to produce one of my dad's scripts called Fighting for Freedom, which is inspired by true events about a family of migrant workers, of immigrants from Mexico, whose youngest daughter faces deportation at the age of 3. And my character is not only the farm owner's daughter, who was played by Bruce Dern, but she's also a high-powered DC attorney and ends up taking on the case and bringing it to the fore on a national level. So that was a very important film for me on a lot of levels, not only on the subject matter, but to be able to collaborate with my father. Plus, we shot it on the farm where I grew up and in the neighboring town of Hudson. So we really memorialized it. And then working with the legendary Bruce Dern, he's just an incredible actor, 2-time Academy Award nominee, and wonderful human.